Welcome to Mondello Park, where today drivers and motor racing fans celebrate 40 years of fantastic racing at this international circuit. We're going to bring you all the best action from the Fomula Vee Championship as the drivers battle it out on the track for those all-important championship points.
Well, Mondello Park may be 40 years old this weekend, but Fomula Vee have been racing there for over 30 of those years. Originally the brainchild of Wicklow's David Sheane, the 1600cc air-cooled power cars run a home-built space frame chassis. Let's hear from series leader Paul Sammin.
It's going really well. 2 wins, 2 pole positions from the first 2 races, so look, hopefully trying to make it 3 in a row here today.
It's obviously a big weekend here today in Mondello Park with the 40th anniversary.
Yeah, and we're delighted to be here to support it. We've got our usual championship race, which will consist of a qualifying race and then the final race. So it looks like we've got 42 out on the grid today. So we'll have 10 people go straight through, and 22 from the second race will battle for the remaining places on the in the final race.
Anybody can come and race in Fomula Vees. We've a young lad today, he's 17. We've some guys over 50. I won't point those guys out for you, and I'm not one of those guys, by the way. And we're all different walks of life, but as one guy said to me last weekend, you know, we race today, but we all go to work tomorrow, you know.
You can run a car for about 3 to 7 grand a year, depending on what you want to spend. But the buzz for that kind of money is incredible, because there's more overtaking in one single Fomula Vee race than there is in a whole season of Formula 1. And as you'll see later on today, that will be the case. Fellas fight for every inch of that track.
The drivers are lining up for their first Fomula Vee Championship race of the day, with William Callaghan in pole position. And what a spectacular event it's going to be as the drivers celebrate 40 years of motor racing here in Mondello Park.
Well, it proved to be a rather eventful start to the Fomula Vee qualifier race, with a number of drivers going off on the opening few laps, including Mark Keenan at turn 3, Daniel McPhillips, who got trapped in the gravel at turn 7. Next to falter was Joe Close, proving his theory about using every inch of the track in Fomula Vee. But it was the coming together of Michael Maher and Nace driver Darren Scully that brought out the red flags on lap 3. We rejoin the race now at the second restart. So Michael Sweeney it is on pole position, alongside him Philip Devlin. We're on board now with Philip Devlin on the outside of the front row, and remember, these guys racing for a place on the grid in the big race, the A final later on. Callaghan right with them as they get away. Poleman just hanging on there. We've got a great view now heading down towards Honda Corner with Philip Devlin. These 1600cc air-cooled Volkswagen engine cars, really, really close and competitive. 2 chassis in the main. That's the Leastone chassis built just down the road by Paul Heavey, and of course David Sheane, the man who brought the class into Ireland in the 70s. He builds the Sheane chassis. A huge rivalry between these two, but these two are Shane's, and Devlin has a look down the inside of turn 3. Brave stuff, gets out of shape as he has to back out of that one, down into third gear now, and in fact the leader just running a little bit wide, and that should give Devlin a chance on the way back towards the main arena now, coming to Holiday in Ireland Corner. Good battle up front already from these two. Sweeney still leading, started from Paul, but right with him now Philip Devlin. All the rest come streaming down towards them. Some great battles right the way back to the grid. Remember, these guys all trying to get into the A final later on. So heading down towards 7A and B on the international loop now, and getting out of shape of the brakes. There's Callaghan having a look down the inside. That looks like Darren Scully. Indeed it is, the Nace politician in car number 23, and he's just hanging on round the outside. Good battle between these two now as they grab fourth gear and head back up towards the S's. And there's car number 39 just getting in trouble there. That's Patrick Farrelly from Kells. He should be able to rejoin. No real problem with the car. A little bit smoky sometimes, but that's not a problem for these cars. They tend to build the engines a little bit loose. They can be quicker that way. Here come the 2 leaders, really trying hard now. Scully running in third place and all taking a bit of curb at paddock. Big effort down the inside now from Devlin, and it looks like he's going to take the lead, getting the car out of shape. You can see how hard he's working at the wheel. Down into third gear now for Dunlop Corner, one of the tighter corners of the track. So we do have a new leader now, and we're on board with him. We'll be back to him in a moment. Here's the rest of the Fomula Vee grid flying through now. Great stuff. That's Gavin Barr from Clonsilla right up there. But look at this, the battle's still on for the lead. Sweeney wanting it back, but being defensive down into Honda Corner there. That time was Devlin. That's Willie Callaghan, one of the front runners. Unusual to see him in a qualifying race as well, but They've had small V grids for the last few years. It's great to see them in 2008 growing so well, and now they have a qualifying race at every round. And it's kind of apt that we have them at the 40th anniversary meeting with full grids and great racing all the way back down the grids. David Sheane and Paul Heavey certainly will be delighted with this one. Callahan now having a real go at Darren Scully. And there's the danger man. That's Ray Moore, multiple Formula V champion, also a UK Formula V champion, has always driven for Leastone since Paul Heavey started building these cars back in 1993. And it's unusual to see him in a qualifying race, and I think we can expect him to start moving towards the front as this race progresses. So watch out for the navy blue Leastone. Here's our leader now coming back up towards and locking a wheel, going in a little bit quick there, but he is getting the head down and getting away. Devlin, look at this battle for third place. Callahan now has displaced Darren Scully. Scully fighting back, and Moore already up there. There he goes, number 6 down the inside. 33 there fighting back. That's Lawrence Flynn from Portlaoise, with nothing he can do about the pace of Moore, and he looks so composed. Huge experience, remember, from Ray Moore, and he's already up to 5th place as they come out onto the main straight. So Darren Scully now having to defend. He's got Ray Moore behind him, hugs the inside line. He's going to make Moore go down the outside. Full fourth gear about there, side by side now down the main straight, under the bridge and heading for Honda corner. Good move by Callahan there, down the inside. Went to the outside first, and nothing Sweeney could do about it. Just launched it down the inside on the brakes, down into turn 1. But our leader now, Philip, we're on board with him. He's getting away. A good run from him, heading out towards turn 3 now, the double apex right-hander. Back to the international circuit now, the international loop being used this weekend, and look at this, Ray Moore down the inside. That puts him up to 3rd place, so Moore really is on a charge. I think the leaders will see him coming in their mirrors now. They'll recognise him as a danger man. His proper place will be at the front of the A final later on, and that's where he'll want to get to. Devlin just drifting the car down into the right-left there, really pushing very hard out in the lead, but that's what he's got to do because he knows Ray Moore is coming behind him. There's Sammin coming through now and all the rest. Great battles. That's 52, just getting a little bit out of shape there, Roy Halman. And around goes 33. That's Lawrence Flynn. We saw him battling with Moore halfway around the lap, but he's just got the back end away. He manages to collect it all up and rejoins, and almost gets collected there. Somebody going through. Oh, that's Joe Close. Should change his name to Very Close after that move. So almost contact there in Formula V. Here comes that's Gavin Barr down the inside, the white Leastone. Beautifully prepared car, and 67 around the outside of him is James Friel. So great battle. That's another Sheane versus Leastone battle. Leastone having the upper hand on this occasion. And 21 just rotating off at turn 1. Tim O'Flaherty from Maynooth, and here's Joe Close again, number 26, a man very much involved in the running of this class for many, many years. Really enjoys his racing. That's Friel going off into the gravel, a lot of wheel spin, the car just digging down, and I don't think he's going to go too much further. There's Jennifer Mullen going through 888, just making up a place. On board again now with Devlin and heading down towards 7A and 7B. And we're in the middle of the track, obviously defending. There are wheels there on the left, and that's Callahan on the attack. But he's down the outside. Just look at Ray Moore. He's already up with these guys and really is looking very, very threatening. Callahan now having taken the lead from our onboard man Philip Devlin, but Ray Moore behind him, and Devlin knows that, again holding the centre of the track as they come up toward the right-left sweep here. And Moore gets down the inside anyway, doesn't need an invitation. Moore really on a charge at the moment in the navy blue Leastone. Here he comes down towards the long left-hander, heading back towards the national circuit. And look at the balance on Devlin's car there. Really looks like it's handling well. Big four-wheel drift, but nothing he can do about Moore. Joe Close now down the inside of Jared Byrne, and wheel to wheel from those two guys. Close making the move stick down at 7A and B, the double right-hander at the end of the international loop. So as we said, great battles all the way down the field. Very inexpensive formula. It's the cheapest single-seater formula in the country by a long shot, and very affordable. Talk to David Sheane or Paul Heavey if you want to get involved in this class. There's Mick Sammin now, 46. Local man from Naas, going well in the Sheane. Again, Darren Scully at the head of that one. Around goes number 31 that time. Philip Lawless, that is, and he's rejoining in the Leastone. But here comes Moore. It looks like Moore, big bid for the lead. It doesn't quite manage it this time, and in fact Devlin has a look up the inside, almost contact there, and Moore on the attack rebuffs that one and immediately going for the lead. They're both slow out as a result, and we should be catching them now as we pull forward gear. The first three absolutely together. Callahan going a little bit wide. Moore should be quicker on the way out now, maybe able to get down the inside. He does get alongside, a classic move on the international circuit here, Mondello. He now has the line for the inside, really close stuff, and that's the way motor racing should be. Really hard, really close, but fair stuff. Good move from Moore down the inside, and he's got the lead now. We can expect him to pull away as they head up towards Dunlop. And great racecraft from these three guys. Really good battle. Moore not drawing away just yet. In fact, this is the checkered flag, and Ray Moore is going to take the qualifying race in the Leastone, so a good result from him. So Moore takes it from Willie Callahan, Philip Devlin, Michael Sweeney, and local man Darren Scully.
Ray Moore, you just took it away from Willie Callahan there the last lap. Delighted?
I had great crack, yeah, it was good fun.
And what's your plans now for race 2?
I might try and get rid of the misfire and make sure that the sticking throttle doesn't keep sticking. But a great crack, that's what Formula V racing is all about. It's just loads of guys out in the grid fighting each other. I think there was probably about half an inch between us most of the time. Great fun.
Well, that's it from part 1 for the Formula V's, with Ray Moore taking the first race of the day. Join us again in part 2.
Welcome back to Mondello Park's 40th anniversary meeting. And while some members of Mondello Park's track team take 40 winks between races, there's a party atmosphere in the paddock with barbecues, classic car displays, and many faces old and new. Before we rejoin the racing, let's talk to a father and son team who have quite a trek to reach Mondello Park.
My name's Devlin. I'm 16 years of age and this is my first year in Fomula Vee motor racing. I always had a passion for racing and cars, and it was the cheapest form of racing that I could afford. And my father already was into the racing, so I thought I'd join him, saved up and bought myself a car. At 16 I'm the youngest in the Fomula Vee class, and without my local sponsors I wouldn't be able to race because I'm still at school yet and don't have a full-time job. My favourite in Grand Prix racing is Keep Me Reckoning, and someday I would like to be in that position.
I got into Fomula Vee because a couple of friends of mine has Fomula Vees, Brian Kelly and Jared Callahan. And Anthony was mad about them as well, and he more or less talked me into buying one, so that's how I ended up with a Fomula Vee. The two of us worked together great, getting the cars ready for the races. Be up all night. Doesn't keep the missus too happy times, but we could be working at them to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, getting ready for Mondello. The disadvantage for us being up here in Donegal is we're so far away from the tracks. Just to go to Mondello, it's 5 hours drive, 5 hours back again. That's over a day's work on its own, without talking about racing. There's not enough been done for young drivers around this area, especially because we haven't got a track. We're nowhere near a track. We have plenty of open land, as you can see. A track here would be great, because apart from the racing end of it, it would keep young people off the road. They would come do the racing on the track. Be a great advantage.
David, we're celebrating 40 years of motorsport today here in Mondello Park. It's a big day for yourself and everyone involved.
It is indeed, yeah. When before Mondello opened, we were confined to road circuits and very few road tracks. So it was a great day when Mondello opened. Great for Irish motorsport. So it's great to celebrate 40 years of it.
Jennifer Mullen, you're the only girl racing in the Formula Vee class. How did you get into it?
Basically, I started marshalling when I was about 16, and last year David Sheane came up with an offer to get new people into the sport. Basically, I rented a car off him and went from there.
So you've never actually raced before?
Well, I raced last season, that's when David started this, and then this is my second season now, but I only do the odd event, not in the championship.
And obviously you enjoy it out there in the track?
Oh yeah, I love it. I could do it every day if I could.
The Formula V's are coming to the grid for their second championship race of the day. We've got Robert Casey on pole position. Let's see who's going to take the checkered flag.
So this is the big one, the Formula Vee A final for the 40th anniversary meeting. Robert Casey on pole position. We're on board with him. Robbie Allen alongside him in the RGA Plantar car. We're also on board with him. A lot of onboard cameras. We'll be right in the action for this one, and there will be plenty of action. There's number 9, Brian Kelly. He's also carrying an onboard camera. The 5-second board being shown. We're getting ready to go. 66 there, Trevor Delaney and Sheane. Ken Elliott, as ever, very aggressive on the throttle, just holding the car at high revs in the CraigorNews.com car. And that's the first Leastone is Ken Elliott. So watch out for the Leastone Sheane battle. A lot of work for Ken Elliott to do because it's all Shanes at the sharp end of the grid so far this weekend. And a huge grid of 1600 V's down towards the first corner. Poleman Robert Casey holding off the challenge there and doing it all right down into Honda corner. Just look at the amount of cars. Fantastic sight now as they head down into turn 1. Flat out through turn 2 in third gear, grabbing fourth now on the way down to turn 3. And Robert Casey, the poleman, doing it all right at the moment. And Robbie Allen, we're on board with Brian Kelly now in third place, and Kelly beginning to have a go at Allen, and Allen's car way out of shape there on the way into turn 3, and he wants to hang on to the leader. They use the treaded tyres, but they are Dunlop racing tyres, and they do need to get a little bit of heat into them, as you can see by Robbie Allen's car moving around a lot there on lap 1, and great battles all the way down the field here. Here come the leaders down into Holiday in Ireland corner now. Trevor Delaney right there, looks like Mark Horan, then Ken Elliott first in the Lee Stones. Watch out for him, always a good battler. Back with the leaders now, we're on board with Kelly, fourth gear, now the fastest part of the track, this long back straight, and he's looking for a toe here. It looks like he's got one. Robbie Allen moving to the right, but it's a little bit too late. Kelly's done it all right, they're side by side. The next one's a right-hander, the two right-handers, 7A and 7B, and Kelly now moves up to second place. It's still Casey in front, but now he's got a new man in his mirrors. From third place on the grid, it's Brian Kelly. Trevor Delaney right with them, and then a little bit of a gap back to Ken Elliott. Casey in front now in the red and black car. He'll be looking to pull away, using a lot of curb. Tends to unsettle these cars, but is a little bit quicker. Delaney right with them, then Elliott pulling away from Horan. Mark Horan, that is next up. It's John Stapleton there in the Lee Stone. Here's our leader again, taking a lot of curb there, coming through Paddock Corner, heading back up towards Dunlop to complete his first lap. Robbie Allen locking the front wheel there, having to defend slightly. Here comes Ken Elliott now, and he's looking up the inside of Delaney. He doesn't make it happen on that occasion. Elliott pushing very hard now in the Lee Stone. But over the curves at Dunlop Corner and down to complete a lap. But Casey it is with a good lead. Then it's Kelly having to defend from Robbie Allen and Trevor Delaney. A great battle for David O'Brien going through. You can see Joe Close, all the rest. Look at this now. First, second place. Robbie Allen locking the front wheels as he goes down the outside and sitting it out round the outside. Unusual move. And the next one's a left-hander. If he can hang on here, he might get back up there. Indeed he does. Kelly has to back out of it. Great driving there by Robbie Allen and all the way around the outside and on the corner. It's an unusual move. Horan now beginning to give Ken Elliott a bit of pressure. We're on board with Elliott. He's holding the centre of the track. And just look at Delaney, aggressive as ever, really trying to have a go and get up towards the leaders. But he'll have to watch his mirrors now because he's a real racer in his mirrors. The Dunlop car of Ken Elliott there. That's the Works Lee Stone, the new shape car, very distinctive, almost Formula Ford looking, very slim car. The driver sitting very far forward. And there's 66, Trevor Delaney now really trying to get by Kelly. And Kelly just holding back. He's having to defend Elliott right with them now. Watch out for this in the back straight. This is fourth gear heading down towards 7A and B. He's going to have a look up the inside. Ken Elliott, really aggressive stuff down the inside. Nothing Delaney can do about it. And Ken Elliott up another place, car number 1. So Elliott really going well now, beginning to move up the grid as we saw Ray Moore doing in the qualifying race. On board now with Robbie Allen, pushing very hard. Casey a little bit wide, perhaps there on the first to the left hand. In fact, going out very wide now, and the car breaks away. The leader goes off, around he goes. We're just going to squeeze through. No, we're not. Little bit of contact, and both of the first two gone off. So huge shocker there at the front of the V race. That could leave Brian Kelly out in the lead now when we rejoin them. And in fact, Casey's still going. Very strong cars, these Formula V's. The corners don't come off them as easily as some other single seaters. Unfortunately, Robbie Allen has a bit of a problem with the front right, and he'll go no further. On board with Casey now, a little bit wide on the first right-hander. That compromises him for the second one. All the curb and a little bit more. That unsettles the car. Round it goes. And just when it's rolling backwards, contact. And that knocks the two cars off the track. So Kelly it is, we can see from the onboard, Kelly leading now, but Ken Elliott on the attack up to second place, and straight away Ken Elliott down the inside at the Dunlop corner. So Kelly only got to lead for one corner. Ken Elliott now leads, coming out of Dunlop, right out over the curbs as ever. Paul Heavey and the rest of the Lee Stone team will be delighted with this one. Started back in 8th place, and already he's leading. Raymond Scully and Jared Byrne there from Edel Healy battling away in the midfield, and they're coming out of Dunlop corner now and starting another lap. So all action in Formula V as ever. We said it would be exciting, but great stuff up the front. And watch out, of course, for the pole man as he fights his way back up through the field. Robert Casey, there was no damage to the car, and we did see him rejoining, so we'll be watching out for him. There goes Scully again going through. Ray Moore going through as well, and that's 35. Trevor Gray from Enniscorthy, and here we are with Robert Casey. Speaking of the devil, we're on board with him, getting a run at one of the other cars, coming up out of turn 3, grabbing fourth gear. Not much difference in a straight line. You can see that guy's wheels still there, but down late on the brakes, down to third, and will make that move stick round the outside. Unpersonal going through, and one of the Stephen Kershaw run cars there down at turn 3. Novice plate on the back. The little X shows us he hasn't done 6 races yet. And Kelly being defensive because Delaney's down the outside now. Delaney just chops across his nose down on the brakes into 7A. He's taken that place. Horan now looking for a piece of the action in the ex-Newsom car. And great stuff. Then it's David O'Brien and John Stapleton right in there too in the Lee Stone. So great battles. And here comes the Works Lee Stone now. Ken Elliott, it looks like he's got a little bit of a lead, but a very much a danger man. In second place is Trevor Delaney. We know how quick he can be in a Formula V. He's holding back Kelly and Horan. So all of a sudden, from a Sheane dominated race, the Lee Stone leads. And here comes Dermot Nolan. Usually see him racing in Formula Libre. He's borrowed this Sheane for the day, and it's not going too well for him. A lot of smoke. He should be able to pull in and just get out of that car. I don't think there's anything major. Possibly an oil leak, or maybe an engine blow up. We're not sure, but He'll be heading back to his Formula 3 car for Formula Libres for the rest of this season. Brian Kelly now through the long right-hander. Great stuff on board with him now in fourth gear. And again, it looks like he's got a problem in a straight line, Kelly, because that's the second or third time we've seen him being overtaken. And just powerless. He does defend, but they're driving right down the outside of him on the approach to that corner. David O'Brien is the next queuing up to have a go at him. Here's Robert Casey now, and he's coming back superbly. This was our leader, remember. He spun off late on the brakes down into 7A, makes up another place, and he's actually more than the midfield. He's heading back up towards the leaders. There's Ray Moore also making up places, so these two charging up through the grid. We'll keep an eye on them. Oh, and a bit of a battle for the lead now. Delaney's managed to close down Ken Elliott, and Elliott having to be defensive on the main straight. Hangs to the Armco barrier there as they grab fourth gear down the main straight. Side by side, Elliott with the front brakes locking there, but manages to get the car turned in. And nothing Delaney can do on that occasion, but he is piling the pressure on now. On board with Casey again, and he's going to make up another place. Here he comes up towards Dunlop corner. Fourth gear corner, down to third on the brakes, and down the inside. That's another place gained for him. Well inside the top 10 and lapping quicker than the leader, so watch out for him in the latter stages of this race. There he goes, number 4, Casey, on board with Devlin, the man that did so well in the earlier qualifying race, down into Honda corner, down to third gear. Watch him working at the steering wheel there. A lot of driving in these little V's, right out to the curb, unsettling the car there, manages to hang on to it, a big sideways moment. And look at this lead battle now, because Ken Elliott has Delaney, Horan, everybody right with him. That's Stapleton and David O'Brien just connecting there between the two 7A and 7B corners. And in fact, that car's still okay. He should be able to rejoin. No real damage, everybody rushing around to have a look. They all will have heard the squealing of tires, and there it goes, just a territorial dispute. Stapleton on the attack and David O'Brien in the same place, but no real harm done. I think we'll see David O'Brien. We won't, he's got a puncture unfortunately, front left, and again, how strong are these cars? A puncture is the only problem he has. Here's a local battle now. It's the Nace politician Darren Scully and 46 Mick Sammin right with him, both in Sheane, so great battle now at the bottom end of the top 10. And that looks like that's Dermot Mahan from County Laois down the inside of Jennifer Mullen, and they make a little bit of contact. Around goes Jennifer, but again, no harm done, waved yellows. That's usually what she's doing, usually part of Mondello's track team, having a go at racing this weekend and doing well to get into the Formula VA final. Brian Kelly on board with him now, and that's Horan in front of him and Delaney, and they're all having a go at each other. It's getting very crowded heading down towards 7A. Kelly having a look down the inside. Horan has no choice but to go to the outside. He should get boxed out here. In fact, he's hanging on around the outside, just gets in front of Kelly. That's good driving by Horan to hang on there around two right-handers. And look at Casey throwing caution to the winds. He can see the leaders in front. He was up there, he started from pole, he led the race, and he really wants to get back up there. Horan going wide, but this is the last lap. It's too late for Casey. Ken Elliott looking very, very good now on the last corner. Here he comes out of Dunlop corner for Dunlop, Stenaline and Finall Oils. Paul Heavey will be delighted with this. Ken Elliott takes the big one for Leastone. Next up is Delaney, Horan, a great battle. Casey just arriving with the leaders towards the end for a great comeback drive from him. Official results then. Ken Elliott takes the win from Trevor Delaney, Mark Horan, Brian Kelly and Robert Casey.
Robert made a mistake, and I think Robbie Allen collected him, and myself and Brian Kelly were at the front and managed to pass Brian at the last corner, but Trevor Delaney then ran me all the way to the line, so it was a very tough race indeed.
Well, that's it from the Fomula Vee Championship here on the 40th anniversary of Mondello Park. We've had some spectacular racing from the Fomula Vees and two great wins from Ray Moore and Ken Elliott. Join us again next time.
Ken Elliott down the inside at the Dunlop corner, so Kelly only got to lead for one corner. Ken Elliott now leads, coming out of Dunlop, right out over the curbs as ever. Paul Heavey and the rest of the Leastone team will be delighted with this one. Started back in 8th place and already he's leading. Raymond Scully and Jared Byrne there from Edel Healy battling away in the midfield, and they're coming out of Dunlop corner now and starting another lap. So all action in Formula V as ever. We said it would be exciting, but great stuff up the front. And watch out of course for the pole man as he fights his way back up through the field. Robert Casey, there was no damage to the car, and we did see him rejoining, so we'll be watching out for him. There goes Scully again going through, Ray Moore going through as well, and that's 35. Trevor Gray from Enniscorthy, and here we are with Robert Casey. Speaking of the devil, we're on board with him, getting a run at one of the other cars, coming up out of turn 3, grabbing 4th gear. Not much difference in a straight line. You can see that guy's wheels still there, but down late on the brakes, down to 3rd, and will make that move stick round the outside. Unpersonal going through, and one of the Stephen Kershaw run cars there down at turn 3. Novice plate on the back. The little X shows us he hasn't done 6 races yet. And Kelly being defensive because Delaney's down the outside now. Delaney just chops across his nose down on the brakes into 7A. He's taken that place. Horan now looking for a piece of the action in the X Newsom car, and great stuff. Then it's David O'Brien and John Stapleton right in there too in the Leastone. So great battles. And here comes the Works Leastone now. Ken Elliott. It looks like he's got a little bit of a lead, but very much a danger man. In 2nd place is Trevor Delaney. We know how quick he can be in a Formula V. He's holding back Kelly and Horan. So all of a sudden, from a Sheane dominated race, the Leastone leads. And here comes Dermot Nolan. Usually see him racing in Formula Libre. He's borrowed this Sheane for the day, and it's not going too well for him. A lot of smoke. He should be able to pull in and just get out of that car. I don't think there's anything major. Possibly an oil leak, or maybe an engine blow up. We're not sure, but he'll be heading back to his Formula 3 car for Formula Libres for the rest of this season. Brian Kelly now through the long right-hander. Great stuff on board with him now in 4th gear, and again it looks like he's got a problem in a straight line, Kelly, because that's the 2nd or 3rd time we've seen him being overtaken, and just powerless. He does defend, but they're driving right down the outside of him on the approach to that corner. David O'Brien is the next queuing up to have a go at him. Here's Robert Casey now, and he's coming back superbly. This was our leader, remember. He spun off late on the brakes down into 7A, makes up another place, and he's actually more than the midfield. He's heading back up towards the leaders. There's Ray Moore also making up places, so these two charging up through the grid. We'll keep an eye on them. Oh, and a bit of a battle for the lead now. Delaney's managed to close down Ken Elliott, and Elliott having to be defensive on the main straight. Hangs to the Armco barrier there as they grab 4th gear down the main straight. Side by side, Elliott with the front brakes locking there, but manages to get the car turned in. And nothing Delaney could do on that occasion, but he is piling the pressure on now. On board with Casey again, and he's going to make up another place. Here he comes up towards Dunlop corner. 4th gear corner, down to 3rd on the brakes, and down the inside. That's another place gained for him. Well inside the top 10 and lapping quicker than the leader, so watch out for him in the latter stages of this race. There he goes, number 4, Casey, on board with Devlin, the man that did so well in the earlier qualifying race, down into Honda corner, down to 3rd gear. Watch him working at the steering wheel here. A lot of driving in these little V's, right out to the curb, unsettling the car there, manages to hang on to it, a big sideways moment. And look at this lead battle now, because Ken Elliott has Delaney, Horan, everybody right with him. That's Stapleton and David O'Brien just connecting there between the two 7A and 7B corners. And in fact, that car's still okay. He should be able to rejoin. No real damage, everybody rushing around to have a look. They all will have heard the squealing of tires, and there it goes, just a territorial dispute. Stapleton on the attack and David O'Brien in the same place, but no real harm done. I think we'll see David O'Brien. We won't, he's got a puncture unfortunately, front left, and again, how strong are these cars? A puncture is the only problem he has. Here's a local battle now. It's the Nace politician Darren Scully and 46 Mick Sammin right with him, both in Sheane, so great battle now at the bottom end of the top 10, and that looks like that's Dermot Mahan from County Laois down the inside of Jennifer Mullen, and they make a little bit of contact. Around goes Jennifer, but again no harm done, waved yellows. That's usually what she's doing, usually part of Mondello's track team, having a go at racing this weekend and doing well to get into the Formula VA final. Brian Kelly on board with him now, and that's Horan in front of him and Delaney, and they're all having a go at each other. It's getting very crowded heading down towards 7A. Kelly having a look down the inside. Horan has no choice but to go to the outside, but he should get boxed out here. In fact, he's hanging on around the outside, just gets in front of Kelly. That's good driving by Horan to hang on there around two right-handers. And look at Casey throwing caution to the winds. He can see the leaders in front. He was up there, he started from pole, he led the race, and he really wants to get back up there. Horan going wide, but this is the last lap. It's too late for Casey. Ken Elliott looking very, very good now on the last corner. Here he comes out of Dunlop corner for Dunlop, Stenaline and Finol Oils. Paul Heavey will be delighted with this. Ken Elliott takes the big one for Leastone. Next up is Delaney, Horan, a great battle. Casey just arriving with the leaders towards the end, so a great comeback drive from him. Official results then. Ken Elliott takes the win from Trevor Delaney, Mark Horan, Brian Kelly and Robert Casey.
Robert made a mistake, and I think Robbie Allen collected him, and myself and Brian Kelly were at the front and managed to pass Brian at the last corner, but Trevor Delaney then ran me all the way to the line, so it was a very tough race indeed.
Well, that's it from the Formula Vee Championship here on the 40th anniversary of Mondello Park. We've had some spectacular racing from the Formula V's and two great wins from Ray Moore and Ken Elliott. Join us again next time.